Lots of things happening for the big holiday weekend, of course. So not only looking locally, but also regionally. A lot of people traveling.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe getting up north to the cabin, whatever the case may be. And we will have that regional outlook coming up for you in just a little bit. Holly, have you been down to Summerfest yet?
Oh, I went the first weekend, and
That's
it was
right.
so fun.
Yeah,
so fun.
If you don't know, Holly's a little newer to town, although you've almost been here a year at this point. But your first Summerfest ever,
Yes,
right?
first Summerfest.
And of course, this is the last Summerfest weekend of the 3-weekend stretch, and we have been there live every Thursday throughout the course of Summerfest, and that's where we find our very own Stephanie Barrichello. You're looking wonderful. So far, so good weather-wise.
Yeah, the sun is shining. Hi there, Rob and Holly. I will say, though, it is toasty. There's not much of a breeze, despite being right by the lake, so hopefully that changes going forward. But it is. It's an exciting day. The gates, of course, just open as we cross into that noon hour for weekend 3 and our final weekend of Summerfest. I'm going to be live here all evening at the U.S. Cellular Connection stage. That is really great lineup. I've been going through some of the performers later on today. Not terribly familiar with them, but they all seem awesome. So it should be a great night to, number one, be at Summerfest in general. Benson Boone is the headliner. I have a feeling that is going to be jam-packed as the night goes on. And of course, here at our stage, so many good performers on the way. But plan ahead, because it is going to be way warmer, way stickier than it was at this point last week. Last week I had a fleece on, so it's very, very different right now. Remember, we have those misting stations. There are spots where you can be shaded underneath the bars, some of the other tents. You can walk through the market area and find some shade there too. So there are still ways to stay cool and have plenty of fun down here at Summerfest. Just plan also for a couple of thunderstorms, which you'll hear a few more about later on in your forecast. But for now, ooh, is that a breeze? It's trying. I'm just ready for that.
It's one of those days where you try to pray for a breeze, even the tiniest of things. It's funny that we use the word toasty when we describe this weather, because to me, toast is like dry. It's anything but dry out there today. For the next couple of days, soupy would probably be an appropriate weather word for today.
Sticky too.
Yeah, we'll be, of course, checking in down at the Summerfest grounds again before we're wrapping up with the show, just to take a look at the soupy or toasty conditions. You can pick your food of choice to describe it. But there have been some incredible storms recently. It's been a very active pattern. This is some incredible video that shows a dust storm and then a collapsing row of power lines. Look at that, like weird little dominoes kind of pulling down there. That's right, roadside in Las Vegas. Happened on Wednesday, so yesterday. One pole crashed on top of a car. Driver said he's okay. He was able to climb out of the damaged vehicle. Nevada Energy, their version of We Energies, obviously. They warned people on the road near down power lines to, of course, stay in their cars until the area is de-iced. That is always, or de-energized, excuse me, wouldn't be iced, right? Would be de-energized. You have to be careful anytime you see a down power line. You know, Vegas, obviously, with the dust storm, is something we don't see here a lot, although we did just see one in Chicago a few weeks back. But anytime a power line is down, whether it's from ice in the winter, whether it's from, a thunderstorm in the spring and the summer, you always have to assume that's a live wire.
Yeah, because if not, you get struck.
Well, yeah, exactly, and it could be a deadly situation. Don't get out of your car. Wait till the lines are de-energized, as the crews in Nevada said right there. So from there, we can go to a Hurricane Flossie. Some great video there as well. Hurricane Flossie has now weakened. It has become more of a tropical storm. It'll be it strengthened pretty quickly, though. It became a Category 3 late Tuesday. Then it was downgraded, packed a maximum sustained wind of 110 miles per hour. Expected to mostly stay offshore, but locals expecting some huge swells, some life-threatening surf and rip currents along the southwestern Mexico shoreline and into the Baja Peninsula there as well. So it's some incredible video, as you were seeing. What is the latest now with Tropical Storm Flossie?
Yeah, Flossie is now a tropical storm and is continuing to weaken. Here is where it's located, as you see it there with the icon spinning. That is where Tropical Storm Flossie is located, and they're moving over colder water. So that is also what's helping weaken the storm. But not only that, we have a little bit of activity possible in the Atlantic as we look at our tropical outlook for at least some areas just in the southeast on the eastern coast there. There is another area of interest that we're definitely going to keep our eyes on. That's development within the next 7 days. And then one more area right below
okay.
where Flossie is. There's another area that's just kick and start as well that has about a 60% chance for development. So we'll be watching that over the next week as well.
There you go. And obviously the Pacific season outpacing the Atlantic pretty significantly at this point.
They're already on F?
Yeah, they're already on F, so what, 6 storms in. There's a slightly earlier start time for the Pacific season versus the Atlantic season, but still a much more active period, an interesting period as well. Typically, they're not as impactful because of the path taking them more out over open water, but there's been a lot of high surf and high tides and things like that. And some of them do, of course, make landfall with soaking rains for parts of Mexico and then getting even as far as Texas and Southern California as well. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Back here at home, soaking rain could be a big problem. We could see a lot of this humidity that Stephanie was talking about fall out of the sky. So why don't we dig into our regional outlook?
Yes, so we do have a lot of rain that we can expect as well.
Oh, I almost skipped it. I'm sorry. Before you get to that, I want to get to that, but I don't want to miss this. And the reason I maybe put it out of my mind is because it's such an abrupt change. Yesterday on the show, we had this great video from Fox Weather's Mike Seidel of Clearwater Beach, Florida. That was in the morning. Then by the evening, yeah, what a difference just a few hours, not even a full day can make. So this is what Clearwater Beach looked like just hours later that same night with some heavy rain, significant storms. And obviously you were just pointing to that same region for potential development in the days ahead in the Atlantic season. See, I put it out of my mind because the picture was so beautiful yesterday, and then to know that that is what the night was like, kind of a tough adjustment there.
I know,
We
and
had
I
beautiful
remember
sand beaches yesterday.
I
Remember that
know.
video?
I remember the picture, and
Yeah.
Steph was like, I want to go. Like, I could just picture myself, and only to see that.
We were all there mentally, and had we actually gone there, we would have ended up in that heavy storm. So
Right.
now we can focus on our own heavy rain. We might look like that without the palm trees later.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You're going to need an umbrella if you're going to be headed out late tonight, because that's when all of the storms will definitely start to arrive in our area. But not only that, we got a lot of heat on the way as well, you guys. So if you don't want to go to Florida to deal with the heat, you can stay here, and it's going to be almost similar heat. Maybe not as humid, but we're going to get a good taste of it. Across the region, though, this is what temperatures are looking like right now. 81 in Milwaukee, 88 in St. Louis, 91 in New Orleans, as well as in Houston. A little bit cooler in Miami currently right now, and then 89 in Charlotte. We're going to warm up more today, though, across the nation. Everybody is going to continue to have that heat in their area. Milwaukee will warm up to the 90s. Heat index is going to be bizarre. We're going to be in the upper 90s, so it's going to feel really hot outdoors. And that's going to be for Milwaukee in the 90s, 90 in St. Louis, 89 in Houston, 91 in New Orleans, and then good old Phoenix. Phoenix is always going to be with the triple digits, if you ask me, around this time of year. They're going to be having a high expected at about 100 degrees. Not only them, though. Look at Rapid City. Rapid City is expected to have 100-degree weather today as well. You think about the winters that they have in Bismarck, and now they're seeing 90-degree weather, 97 to be exact for a high in Bismarck. So everybody's getting a good taste of this heat, really nationwide here. We don't really have an area where it's going to be super duper cool. Some areas could be cooler than others, but everybody's dealing with all of that summer heat. As we get closer to home here in the state of Wisconsin, we're even going to see some 90s for ourselves. 91 in Chicago, that's in Illinois, but 89 in La Crosse. We're looking at Waterloo, checking in at Wausau, I should say. That is at about 86 for a high. 90 here in Milwaukee for a high today. 74 in Duluth. A little bit cooler there, too, in Marquette. They did have a cold front earlier today, so that also helped cool down their temperatures. As we take a look at those temperatures trending throughout really the next couple of days, we're going to have a very hot 4th of July weekend here in at least Milwaukee, as well as even across Wisconsin. You see here, we're going to be in the 90s, but then we start to have more of a cool off, especially as we start the week for next week. We're going to be in the 80s there. So it's a big temperature degree change from now up until the end of this weekend. You see, we're going to be about 15 degrees warmer, and you can only imagine what that heat index is going to feel like outdoors. Not only is the heat going to be a problem, the dew points are going to be oppressive over the weekend. As you see here, we're seeing 70 70-degree dew points at least. Those dew points kind of improve next week, but not so much because we're still seeing some 70s by the time we make it to Tuesday. So definitely keep that in mind when you're outdoors. It's going to feel very icky. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water if you're going to be outdoors enjoying any of the festivities to celebrate the 4th of July or even headed out to Summerfest. As we take a look at our satellite and radar just across the nation here, we're seeing a lot of that rain over Texas right now, but if we look closer to home here, you notice that across the Midwest, everybody is pretty dry. Now I can tell you this, all that is definitely going to change. We do have a severe thunderstorm outlook for marginal risk for at least majority of Wisconsin, as well as even parts of Iowa and even Minnesota, and that's going to be the same case even as we head into Friday. Only a few areas, so at least that northwestern corner of at least Wisconsin will be a part of that marginal risk for Friday, and then the entire state of Minnesota is going to be included in that marginal risk. And if you don't know what a marginal risk is, that just means we can have some strong winds between 40 to 60 miles per hour with some of these thunderstorms that roll through the area. Hail up to about 1 inch could also be possible. A low tornado chance, but we can never rule out that being a possibility. Let's take a look here on our Sky Vision Plus and planning ahead throughout at least the rest of this weekend so you guys can know what to expect for your 4th of July. As we go throughout the rest of today, it's going to overall stay nice like it is outdoors right now, and that's going to be statewide. We can have a few of those pop-up showers around 6:30, but later on into the evening, that's when we'll start to see more of that rain come into our area, at least overnight. This is around midnight. We'll start to see a little bit of those showers and thunderstorms, at least in the Milwaukee region, and even areas like near Eau Claire on the western border of at least Wisconsin. We'll start to see more of those showers overnight. Those will continue to dominate the forecast throughout Friday morning. So overnight tonight, we're going to get that natural white noise. It's going to be a lot of rain sounds because we do have that rain going on. That's going to be the case waking up tomorrow morning. Same situation as we go throughout Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, we start to at least steer clear from some of that rain. We'll dry up a little bit more. That's 4th of July. So you'll at least have the rain for the beginning of the day to kind of wet the ground. So if you do want to do any fireworks, at least the ground will already be wet. So that'll be great news for us all. But we'll warm up, and we're going to be very humid after all this rain pretty much kicks into our area. By the time we make it to the afternoon, that heat is going to be in full blaze, and this is around 4:30. Across the state, it's going to be nice and dry. Those winds could pick up a little bit in between 10 to 15 miles per hour. Otherwise, it's still going to be pretty nice, even starting Saturday off. Really nice start to Saturday, but Saturday afternoon, we could start to see a lot of those pop-up showers and thunderstorms again, as you see here, not just for the Milwaukee region, but even across the state. We could expect more of that messier weather to arrive for Saturday afternoon, as we do see this line of showers that will continue to dominate throughout Saturday afternoon. Hopefully a little bit drier, though, as we head into Sunday's forecast. But in the meantime, here's a look at that 4th of July forecast for you. Highs are expected to be around 92 degrees. In Milwaukee, we do have isolated showers and thunderstorms for the morning time, and then we're looking to be a little bit drier with a wind from the southwest. Now check out that heat index. 100-degree heat index. So it's going to be hot for 4th of July. I mean, the fireworks aren't the only thing that's going to be hot for tomorrow.
Hot and sticky for sure.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
as Stephanie was pointing out, obviously it's a pretty humid day down at the Summerfest grounds. It'll be a very humid day, a couple of days for 4th of July, 5th of July, so if you head out to parades, fireworks, drone shows. You're just going to have to prepare for that and take it a little easier, right?
Yes.
That hot and sticky combination when paired with partying, and drinking a little bit too much.
Not good.
Can be, it can be very problematic any weekend, particularly 4th of July, because now you're mixing in things like fireworks, boating, so you've got water safety. So please, we want you guys all back here on Monday to watch the next episode of Wisconsin Weather Expert. But before we get to that one, we got to finish this one. Got so much more coming up. Stick around for some holiday travel weather. We got some stuff about birds. It's all straight ahead. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts right here on Fox Local and, of course, the Fox 6 YouTube channel. Don't forget to click subscribe on that one. As we said moments ago, very busy few days, partly because there's a lot of travel going on.
Oh, yeah. 4th of July weekend, that's a busy one.
Yeah.
So it's shaping up to be a busy 4th of July weekend with millions of Americans planning to travel. Airlines say that they prepared to handle the crowd. So Fox News' senior correspondent Jonathan Siri has more.
With more than 72 million Americans heading out of town, this July 4th holiday could break records.
Got to get out early, beat the traffic, and get down there in a safe manner.
That's why we got an early start this morning, to beat the traffic.
While the majority are expected to hit the roads, the TSA says more than 18 million will fly to their destinations, and major airlines are prepared for the surge. American plans to accommodate at least 7 million customers through next Monday, while United says it will transport more than 6 million, 500,000 more than last year.
This really is our Super Bowl and our time to shine as we look at the summer. So, we've been making sure that staff is in place, that we're ready to go.
But a major challenge this year, the weather. Heavy rain disrupted flights across the Northeast this week, and more delays are expected as severe storms hit the Midwest and South.
We put onto another flight. We were actually here yesterday at noon, so we had to head back. They booked us again for 6 a.m. flights.
One silver lining, those traveling by plane are paying less this holiday. According to travel booking app Hopper, flight prices are down about 3% from last year for domestic trips.
If you leave on the 4th, you're typically going to save on average at least 20%. And then try, if you can, be a little bit flexible in when you're coming back.
The TSA expects Sunday to be its busiest day, with nearly 3 million passengers passing through checkpoints. At Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, Jonathan Siri, Fox News.
Yeah, busy, and of course weather impacting that all the time. So make sure you check those apps and the flight, updates. Some travel for one of our very own. Yes, indeed, Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks is going on a little trip as well. But Tom, it's not a vacay; it is work.
That's right. Hey guys, great to be with you today. Yeah, so some exciting news. I'm heading out to New York City tomorrow. And that's to help fill in on Fox Weather, which we talk about quite a bit. We join them from here in Milwaukee, and they need some help filling in over the holiday weekend and into next week. So join me from New York City. It's going to be Saturday morning and Sunday morning, kind of early there. And then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week in the evening. So exciting news there. They're sending me out to New York City to fill in there for a couple of days. Now, my wife and daughter are going to join me. They're going to be on the vacation side of things when Dad works. So should be a fun time for them. They're going to have a great time, fun time for me to get to work with our friends over at Fox Weather and kind of talk about the national view of weather over the next couple of days.
Yeah, obviously a great experience. Always good to connect with the fine folks over at Fox Weather. They help us out quite a bit with content, Tom. And I'm excited to hear that the fam is going to get kind of a quasi-vacation out of that. Make sure they get down to the giant M&M store.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's going to be the first stop, Rob, between that and a Broadway show or two. They're going to be having a lot of fun for sure. So I'll be lucky if I see them at all over the course of the next couple of days.
Oh, very true. Your daughter's a little too old for the Times Square Elmos and things like that, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of fun to be had around every corner.
Absolutely. So yeah, please tune in this weekend and early next week. Should be a great time. Talking about some national weather. And then we'll see you back here. I'll be on live tonight and then back on air here in Milwaukee a little over a week from now.
All right. Bring us back some good stories, Tom.
Absolutely.
Sounds good for sure. Tom is flying, of course. Got to get out to the coast in a hurry to fill in on that. We're talking about our flying feathered friends now, though.
Yep, birds. So as you look out the window to see nice weather, wildlife experts say you should also keep an eye out for potential dangers to birds. Fox's Sean Langill has more.
All right, I think we've got a bit of an issue with that, but the bottom line with what Sean was going to tell us about is that when birds are active this time of year, we have our windows open. We just want to take in the day and these beautiful conditions, and our huge, beautiful picture windows are great for us. We can see out. We get to do all the bird watching we want. Unfortunately, birds have a hard time sometimes knowing that there is a pane of glass there, and there are a lot of bird injuries when they try to fly through. So you can get these lovely little stickers, little adhesives that don't wreck your window. They just stick up there that the bird can then kind of distinguish that there is glass there and not go flying into it. But it happens at an incredible rate, and it happens quite a bit in large cities as well with some of these towering skyscrapers and things. And then it becomes a double danger because the bird, sometimes like a larger pigeon, will fly in, injure itself, possibly take its own life accidentally, and then fall to the ground from stories up, and then it lands on a pedestrian down there for sure. So unfortunately, we weren't able to get that package up and running, but the bottom line is if you've got those big picture windows, and if you're like me and you like to feed the precious birdies, make sure that you've got something to protect them when they go flying around your backyard. All right, we've got so much more to get to. We're going to talk about a very interesting wedding proposal. Call it a proposal with a twister.
Welcome back to our Wisconsin weather experts. If you're tuning in from Fox Local or even on YouTube, we have just a few more things to share with you before you kick off the weekend.
Yeah, some of them are pretty cool, and in many cases viral. I'm sure if you were on the social media, you may have already seen this, but it's definitely worth seeing again and talking about. Check out this pair of storm chasers. They're both storm chasers. They got engaged in front of a tornado. Regular folks that aren't trained storm chasers do not do this, but this is Bryce Shelton and Paige Berdomus. They have been chasing tornadoes together all over the Midwest. The proposal happened in South Dakota. They had a whirlwind romance. Get it? And it actually started online. They became friends in the weather Twitter sphere, if you will, like weather Twitter, or X now as they call it. And they met for the first time last summer to go on a storm chase, fell in love, of course, and the rest is history. So
Wow.
a proposal with a twister.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's for sure a twist. I tell you that.
That's a great picture. Again, I cannot stress this enough. Very cool. Also trained and skilled at what they do.
Yes.
And they were as safe as they both felt they needed to be. That is not something an amateur or inexperienced person should do. But if you want to be an amateur and just take in professionals, the drone show's for you.
Oh yeah, the drone show is going to be awesome. That's
Look at
after
this thing.
a year hiatus. The lakefront will be lit up once again on July 3rd. So
That's
tonight.
right. Check it out. It'll be sticky, but it'll be fun to watch. Thank you, Holly. Thank you for watching. We'll have another show tomorrow for the 4th. Happy 4th, everybody.